Welcome back to the Story Lab. Today, we are going to try something different. Instead of coming up with a story, we come up with a game concept. Specifically, with a classic Lego game. Even though classic Lego games are still loved by fans, they have been in a decline lately. It is likely that we will not get another classic Lego game anytime soon, especially not since the Skywalker saga. But there are some stories that would work very well as one of those classic games. Today, we develop one such concept. A Lego Spider-Man game. In terms of ingredients, today's experiment is very simple. All Spider-Man live-action movies should be in the game, as well as the classic Lego game ingredients. Levels. Open world. Different abilities. Minikits. Collecting gold bricks. And a giant character roster. References and Easter eggs to the comics and other series should be distributed in the open world. And last but not least, a lot of fun. Let's put this into a mixture. Okay, before we give this to the lab to analyze, we want to clarify that we want to come up with a concept, not mapping out all the levels in detail, but giving us an idea what it would be like to play this hypothetical game. Okay, so now the lab can analyze it and we'll start the presentation as soon as it has finished. Here we go, Lego Spider-Man the video game. The game, unsurprisingly, is very similar to previous superhero-themed Lego games. There is an open world representing New York City. Distributed around the city are golden bricks that can be collected by completing challenges. You are also rewarded with gold bricks for completing levels, collecting minutes, etc. The levels play out the plots of the 8 movies from all 3 live-action Spider-Mans, starting with the 2002 movie. For every level there is a story and a free-play mode. Throughout you play as 2 characters, with one always being Spider-Man, in a certain version, and the other a supporting character, usually a friend or fellow superhero. In addition to the main levels, there will be 6 bonus levels. These are called the villain levels and play out the origin stories of various villains, meaning you get a chance to play as those villains in a sort of story mode. However, in order to unlock these bonus levels, you first have to fight, beat, and buy the corresponding villain. Like in the Lego Batman 2 game, the villains will be dispersed around the open-world city, with 1 villain per domain. By going to that domain, you can fight the villain, buy him and start his bonus level. Other characters can be bought in a shop or are unlocked through challenges. Throughout the entire game, the 3 movie universes coexist in the same city, though different regions of the city are associated with different universes and are unlocked through progressing through the related levels. The open world is generally just the outsides of the buildings, but it is possible to enter into several of them, namely the ones related to the Spider-Man story in one way or another, for example the Parker's house, the Oscorp Tower, the Sanctum Sanctorum, the university, etc. Places outside of New York can only be explored in the levels though. This primarily concerns Europe in Far From Home. Travel around the city can be on foot, flying, swinging from building to building, by boat, helicopter, or even by subway. These are the regions of the city and their corresponding villains. Queens residential area, the Green Goblin. University, Doc Ock. Friendly neighborhood, Southern Queens, Venom. Uptown, Upper Manhattan, New Goblin. The Bronx, Sandman. The Oscorp Tower, northern tip of Manhattan, Lizard. Ravencroft Institute, the Green Goblin, from The Amazing Spider-Man. The Electricity Station, Electro. Downtown, Financial District, Rhino. Brooklyn, Vulture. Statue of Liberty, Venom, from the Venom movies. As is usual for these games, the characters have various abilities. Spider-Man himself has quite a number of abilities, which vary slightly depending on the suit he is wearing. The second player usually has less abilities but will be required to interact with levers, buttons, etc. Several abilities are villain-specific and can thus only be used in free-play mode. Hero abilities include Net Creation and Spidey Sense, both exclusively for Spider-Man. High Jump. Super Strength. Climbing. Making photos. Using science desks, little chemistry desks. Using ropes. Screaming. Fixing. Using hatches. Using Oscorp terminals, Gwen Stacy. Using Stark technology. Flight. Magic, Doctor Strange. Villain abilities include Science boards. Oscorp access panels. Resistance to electricity. Bomb throwing. Super strength for big figures. Destroying black rocks, an ability for hyper-aggressive beings like Venom or Rhino. Glider control, Green Goblin. Passing through vents, Sandman. Operating multiple levers at the same time, Doc Ock. Let's quickly go through the ideas for the levels. Level 1, with great power comes great responsibility. Discovering superpowers, tutorial section, the boxing fight, boss battle, the chase and death of Uncle Ben. The second player is Uncle Ben himself. Level 2, the fair. Plays out the Goblin's attack on the fair. Additional characters are Mary Jane and Harry Osborn. Level 3, the Goblin. Plays out the confrontation at the cable car and the final fight with the Goblin. Level 4, attack on the bank. Plays out Doc Ock's attack on the bank. Second player is Aunt May. Level 5, duel with Doc Ock. Plays out the famous fight on the train. Second player is the kid that finds Spider-Man's mask. Level 6, the reactor. Plays out the finale of the second movie around the fusion reactor in the boat's house. The second players here are Mary Jane, her astronaut fiancé and for a brief time Doc Ock. Level 7, Spidey's enemies. Plays out the early fights against the New Goblin and Sandman. The second players are Mary Jane and a policeman. Level 8, the black suit. Plays out Peter Parker's time with the symbiont suit. The second player is noticeably not Mary Jane but this movie's Gwen Stacy instead. Level 9, Redemption. Plays out the finale of the third movie, i.e. the fight against Sandman and Venom. Mary Jane and the New Goblin are the supporting characters. Level 10, the room with the spiders. This is the first TAS level. It plays out Peter sneaking through Oscorp and getting his superpowers. The second player is Gwen Stacy. Level 11, the Lizard's Lair. A level in the sewers, where Spidey tries to find the lizard, as well as the subsequent battle in the school. Gwen Stacy is the second character. Level 12, Battle on the Tower. The finale of the TAS movie. Support characters here are Gwen Stacy and her father. Level 13, Electro on the streets. Plays out the first encounter with Electro on a town square. To spice it up a bit, the second character this time around is the superhero Black Cat, who was hinted at but ultimately didn't appear in the movie as her superhero self. In the game she and Peter start working together here. Level 14, the Power Station. The fight with Electro at the power station. Black Cat is still here alongside Gwen Stacy. Level 15, the Clock Tower. The final fight at the Clock Tower, where Gwen Stacy ultimately dies. Supporting characters are still Black Cat and Gwen. Level 16, Friendly Neighborhood. The MCU Spider-Man chases wrongdoers around the suburbs. And encounters the alien tech dealers. The second player here is Ned and towards the end Iron Man. Level 17, Trip to Washington. Plays out Spidey's side mission into the warehouse and the crisis at the Washington Monument. Second players are the Spider Drone, Ned, Liz and MJ. Level 18, the Plane. The final fight between Spidey and the Vulture. Ned is once again the man in the chair, and Happy is the second player for part of it. Level 19, Venice. The level playing out the battles at Venice with Mysterio as the second player alongside MJ. Level 20, Prague. Playing out the section of the story in Prague with Mysterio as the second player. Level 21, London. The finale at London, where Mysterio is revealed to be a villain and thus the second player is now back to being MJ, Happy, Ned and also Flash. Level 22, Electro in the Woods. Doctor Strange's spell goes wrong, and villains start showing up from the previous levels. This level includes the attack on the bridge and finding Electro in the woods. Second players are the MIT Director, MJ, Ned and Sandman. Level 23, Aunt May. Plays out Spidey's fight with Doctor Strange, his attempts to heal the villains and eventually Aunt May's death. Second players are MJ, Aunt May, Happy and for a moment Doc Ock. Level 24 with a finale. The final fight on top of the Statue of Liberty, where all the villains are stopped. This time, both players can play as Spidey, as we have all three Spider-Mans in the time, alongside MJ, Ned and Doc Ock, redeemed. Bonus 1, The Origin of the Green Goblin. Bonus 2, The Origin of Doc Ock. Bonus 3, The Origin of Sandman. Bonus 4, The Origin of the Lizard. Bonus 5, The Origin of Electro. Bonus 6, Venom, from the Venom movie. Content about Miles Morales Spider-Man could be added as a DLC. Okay, that's the entire concept. Do you like it? Would you want to pick up and play this game? Please note that everything presented here is simply the results of an experiment. No part of this presentation is intended as a correction of an existing story or claims to be the real story. The selection or omission of any parts of the source material is not to be understood as commentary, positive or negative, on the original productions. These are simply thoughts and experiments based on existing material and none of it could be created without the work of all those involved in creating the original works. As with any scientific result, you may utilize any of the story ideas that resulted from these experiments for your own experiments or production, while citing this experiment as its source. It is now closing time for our lab. Goodbye until next time.